Hey, love. Welcome to the podcast. This is a space where we are done pretending that in order for you to achieve the goals, the dreams, the desires that you have deep aching within your heart, that you have to do it like men. We are done playing by the rules that were not really designed for us in the first place. The ones that say that our bodies, our menstrual cycles don't exist, that business has to be hard, that we have to hustle hard in order to achieve what we want. In this space, business gets to feel so freaking good. We get to ride with the waves of what your body is actually asking you to do, what deep down in your soul you know that you were here and called to do. As a woman who has been there, done that, and hustled my way through so much, forced myself, built a business like a man for many, many years, here is what I know to be true. You don't need another strategy. You don't need more discipline. You don't need to be more consistent. And you definitely don't need to just work harder. You need rhythm. You need safety within the body. You need the business that's going to feel so freaking good and that moves with you and with the laws of the universe. On this podcast, we're going to talk about what it really looks like to lead as a woman. We talk about menstrual cycles, money, identity, visibility, power, building wealth, and really ultimately becoming the kind of woman who doesn't need permission to go after her dreams or to take up space in this world. So take a deep breath and let's build the life that you desire the feminine way. All right, love, I want you to have an insane amount of money in your pocket, in your checkbook, in your hands. And I've tried to record this episode like 3 times and keep getting sidetracked with all the little tangents that I want to talk about in this episode. And I know that this may seem like a weird episode to kind of come in and talk about money and like some of these money mindset ideas, but I want more women to have more wealth because when more women have wealth, we do good things with it. Plain and simple. When women statistically have more wealth, they reinvest it into communities. They create programs that help the collective. They help humanity. Like women need to be people of influence, and influence a lot of times comes with wealth. And so when I look at the work that I do, I've really been sinking into more and more and more of what is it and the biggest impact that I really want to make in the world. And like, what does that look like? A lot of the content and a lot of the work that I am so freaking passionate about is this intersection between our bodies and understanding our bodies and listening to our bodies and listening to our intuition with these laws of the universe, the manifestation, law of attraction type of energy, and also business and how we strategically create business and how we think about business and how do we make smart actions about business. And so a lot of the work that I do inside my programs is that it's not just cycle thinking. It's not just a business program. It's not just a manifestation program. It's the blend of all of those 3 things together. And I think that that's what makes things so magical, to be honest. So when we talk about this idea of like you making more money, it falls very much in something that I feel so passionate about. And right now, especially in the spring energy is like, yes, let's go. Let's make this happen. Let's like get this big fire energy rolling, which I think is why it's like popping right now in my sphere of I want this year to help the women in my community like crush their financial goals. I've helped women, help them feel more peaceful, help them feel more permission, help them feel more in touch with their body, help them create more ease, help them create more flow, help them create so much more rhythm, like be more productive, like all of these things. And for some of them, like financially, they've seen massive shifts in that. But this year, I'm like dedicated to that. Like this is going to happen. Like I'm on a mission to collectively raise the wealth of the women in my sphere. Okay. So all of that is a preface to this concept, this idea that's come up for me this week around money. I've had twice this week somebody ask me what my budget for something was. So one of them was something related to my car. Something was related to our trip to Thailand. I think there was something else recently where somebody asked me, when we ask like for details about something, they say, well, what's your budget? And I've noticed this about myself for years that when somebody asks my budget, I've always had a really hard time like labeling it. And part of me has always thought that it had something to do with like, oh, well, I don't want to be sold to. Like if I could get the best deal, right? Like, are they trying to swindle me by like knowing like, oh, I'm willing to pay 10 grand for that. And they're like, cool. So it's 9,999, right? And it wasn't. And I used to think that that was the reason why I would never really come up with a budget. But then this week, I realized that it has nothing to do with that. When somebody asks me what my budget for something is, if I say, so for instance, like our trip to Thailand, we're planning on taking the kids to Thailand this year, and I'm so excited about it. But I've been trying to research like details and things about that. Now, when somebody asks me, what's your budget for Thailand? My mind goes blank. Is no amount that comes to mind. And I think that the reason is, this is what my aha for you, is that if you came back and said, hey, you could have a budget trip to Thailand for $2,000. You could have a mid-grade ticket like trip for 5 grand, and you could have an amazing trip for like $10,000. Then what happens in my mind goes to reverse engineering. How do I make that happen? How do I make that possible? Versus if I came into it and said, only have $2,000, I put a cap on the possibility of what I could create. Let that sink in for a second. Like I'm going to go back and I'm going to reintegrate or like speak into this a little bit more, right? Because if I don't have, so say I want to do this $10,000 trip to Thailand, which we're not, like that's not my plan. But say like the person comes back and they're like, hey, this is the trip you want. All of the things that you want in a trip to Thailand, like this is it. And it's 10 grand. I may not have the 10 grand in my pocket right now, but I know that that's the trip that I want. And so I can sit in the energy of that trip. I can imagine that trip. I can be in that trip, and I can, one, manifest like things out of thin air because that's totally possible. And two, I also can reverse engineer, what is it going to take for me to actually call in that 10 grand so that that trip becomes possible? So the difference for me is that when I wasn't setting a budget, so like when somebody asked me, what's my budget? I don't have a budget because I'm open to the possibility of creating the desire that I have. If I say, oh, I only have $2,000, then inadvertently I'm setting a cap for what's possible for me rather than stepping into the energy of what I really want to create. Does this make sense? And so I know it's such a small little nuanced thing, but when it hit me today or yesterday, whenever it was looking at like the smallest little things like that in the way that we talk, in the way we communicate, in the way we think, and what that's doing for what becomes possible for us. So in anything, like when you're looking at investing in something, when you're looking at ads, when you're looking at creating what you want, when you're looking at your new dream house, when you're looking at a car, like whenever you are you coming at it from a lens of, this is my budget, this is what I can afford, this is the cap, this is the limit in which I exist, this is my current reality and the functioning of where my current reality is? Or are you opening yourselves up to the possibility of a new reality? Because if we want to create something new, if we want to create a new reality, we have to function as if we're in that reality already. And if you're letting the reality of today keep you from being able to live and play in the imagination of the possibility of where you want to go, then you're going to always stay within that reality. You're never going to shift out of the reality. So then it becomes this game of playing in the possibility, playing in the vision, playing in the dreams, playing in the magic, that then we open ourselves up for that stuff to become real within our lives. And this is, like I said, such a small little thing. It's such a nuanced little way of speaking and engaging with the world, but it makes such a huge difference. And I know part of this is my personality. I've always been somebody who's been, in this place of possibility. Part of it could be like innate. Part of it could be growing up in an entrepreneur-based family, that this sort of dream and possibility and ideation has always kind of been a part of my world. But I'm bringing it to your attention in this one little thing because like I said, with the budget, it really brought it into mind of like, I don't like setting budgets because I exist in the realm and in the play of like, all things are possible. All things have potential. Now, when we look at like setting a budget for my month and like making sure that I'm not overspending, that's a whole different conversation, right? But when we look at setting a budget, like when somebody asks you, what's your budget for running ads for your business? What's your budget for, going on that vacation? What's your budget for this thing? Are you living in that reality of like, this is my current tangible money that's in my bank account right now, and therefore my budget is only $2,000? Or are we living in the realm and the potential and the possibility of where you want to go and allowing that budget to expand and exist? So I can guarantee you that for me, being in the place of thinking and dreaming about my most dreamy, most excitable, my most like tangible, like I can taste and smell the salt water and I can feel the jungle and like all of those things, like of the vision of what I want to create. The more that I live in that possibility and that playground and that land, the more likely it's going to become true for me. Okay. So this is the experiment that I want you to go on this week. I want you to look at where in your life right now you're operating from the reality of what exists in your world right now. Maybe it's the number of clients in your bank or like number of clients in your world. Maybe it's the amount of money in your bank account. Maybe it's the amount of time that you have in your week. Oh my gosh. Like think about that. Like time can be such an illusion. And you and I've both been in those situations where you're somewhere and it just feels like time stretches on forever. And then other times where time goes so fast and it's like in a blink of an eye, it's gone, right? Time is this like illusionary thing that we get to play in the playground of how can I have the most expansive and most abundant, spacious amount of time in my world right now? So, for me, even right now, like there's a lot of days I don't actually physically have enough time to get everything done in the day. And yet, when I look back, I'm like, wow, I still am going to dance class. I'm still taking the dog for a walk. I'm still, doing the things that I've prioritized and said, these are things in my vision of space. And I really want to make sure that these are in my reality today. Those are the things that I have the spaciousness to create. If I got into the place of being like, I have no time, I have no time, I have no time, I have no time, that would be a different story, right? We play in the playground of possibility. There are days right now when I look at time when I have to be in 3 places at the same darn time. And I could stay in the place of that's physically impossible. It's not going to happen. There's absolutely no way that I can be in 3 places at the same time. It's what happens when you have 3 kids in 3 different sports. Like even right now, I dropped off one kiddo at baseball, went home and dropped one kiddo off at home, then came back and dropped another kiddo off at another baseball field, then went and picked up the first one at that baseball field and then dropped her off now at soccer and then took the dog for a walk while I was here at soccer, right? This is my life right now. Like legit, like that's my calendar almost every single day. And I could be in the mindset of, I don't have time. I don't have time, right? I don't have time. Or I could play in the playground of like, how do I make this possible? And it might be really creative. There have been plenty of days where I've dropped a kiddo off and let them ride with a friend. Or I've dropped a kiddo off at a field early and then went to the other field a little bit late. Or I've collaborated and had somebody else like ride share and job share, like not job share, but like ride share with me, like they drop my kiddo off or whatever. Like, there are possibilities that we can create. There are endless possibilities that we can create. But we have to play in the playground of possibility instead of limitations. So I know this conversation started with money and you having an insane amount of money. And I really want you to have an insane amount of money. But it starts with playing in the playground of possibilities instead of limitations. When we look at things like, even for my retreat, the amount of conversations that I had with people around finances not working out or time not working out or some scheduling conflict or something. And that's one possibility, right? We can stay in that lane of it's not possible because of XYZ. Or there's other conversations that I had where somebody was like, dude, I've got this thing in the middle, but I'm going to make it work. I can call this person. I can shift this around. I can call in for help over here. Like there's possibilities for me to make this happen, right? You get to play in the playground of creating your reality. You create your reality and you create your reality. You're creating your future right now with the lens of mindset you have about your current reality. So if you're playing in the lens of like, my budget is set, my limitations are here, my ceiling is here, this is what the lived experience looks like, is like, these are all of the reasons I have this in my life. And you're owning that and staying in that, you will never create a new future. Your future will stay the same. You have to get so delusional about what it is you want and believe that it's so possible for you. It's already here for you. So for me, like thinking about this Thailand trip, like I said, I'm not planning a $10,000 Thailand trip, but even $5,000, like when I've plugged it into Claude and I've kind of mapped out, like I asked it today, I was like, these are all the kinds of things that I want to do. This is the kind of hotels, places I want to stay. Like, can you just estimate, give me a budget? Like, how much is this going to cost? Right. And I guess that's the better way to put it, is like, how much would this cost? Because once I know how much it's going to cost, then I can reverse engineer how to make it happen. And so I did. The money, like I think it was roughly like $5,000. And I was looking at today and I was like, okay, cool. $5,000. How do I create an additional $5,000 on top of the other things I've got coming? Like I've got a kid's car coming and I just bought a new car and like all the other, like all the other expenses. Like where do I manifest $5,000 out of nothing? And I don't have the answer. I don't right now. There's possibilities, like there's ideas, like I had some ideas of like, ooh, that could work and that could work and that could work. But where the universe drops it into my lap from, I have no idea. But in my head, I know we're going to Thailand. I trust that it's happening. Even though currently in this moment, if somebody asked me to write a check for it, I would not have the money for it. So I'm operating as if it's already there, that the money's already in my bank account. It's already coming. I will figure out a way to make the money come. I know that sounds a little bit like I'm controlling it, but there is some element of like taking action to make realities happen, like to make things change and make things shift. That's the other thing about the law of the universe and like the laws of attraction, is like we don't just sit here and meditate and hope that everything comes to us, but the energy that we approach it with does change everything. Okay. I feel like I'm getting in a little bit of a waylaid side tangents on these. I was like, wanting to talk about all about money and like how you manifest more money and how the budget and the setting those limitations. Setting your limitations is capping what's possible for you. And I want you to walk away from this episode feeling the potential, feeling the possibility, even just noticing where in your life right now you're capping your reality, capping your potential because of reality. I said that backwards. So you're capping your future, your possibility based on what's in your reality right now. And if you want a different reality, you've got to operate in a different way of thinking and a different possibility. So whatever it is right now in your life, like I said, if it's money, if it's time, if it's relationships, if it's friendships, if it's clients, if it's your body, your health, like whatever it is, how can you get so delusional about the possibility and the potential that you're creating instead of looking at your current circumstances, your current reality? Okay. All right. I think that's it. Theodore and I are still sitting here, and he and I went for a really long walk, and now we're hanging out in the car until the kids are done with soccer. Well, one's done with soccer. I haven't officially fully announced it. In this vein of talking about helping women really generate wealth, like I know I said at the beginning, like I am incredibly passionate about it this year, which is why I'm going to put out a new offer. And this offer is something unlike what I've ever done before. This offer is going to consist of working with me one-to-one for the next year. So not only will you get access to all of my group containers inside your Cycle Advantage and the Inner Circle, but you'll also get me in your back pocket. So we'll map out every quarter. We'll get together every month. You will have me on Voxer. The goal of this is to really have somebody that's strategically with you, that's seeing your numbers, that's seeing what's working, seeing what's not. I mean, I look at this as like having somebody who can pick your spinach in your teeth. Like sometimes we're just way too close to our stuff. Like we don't even see it. We don't even see the red flag spinach that's like blaring in our face. And to have somebody that's with you side by side that can help you really stay committed to what you're creating and the wealth that you're creating and the impact that you're creating and all of that. So one, you get me in your back pocket, like full support all year for 12 months. Okay. 12 months, you're going to get me. And then second, you're going to get 2 in-person events, like retreat experiences. So over a weekend, you and I and a group of the other women will get together and do these like laser intensives, like my retreat, like the Awaken retreat right now, just in a little bit of a shortened, condensed zone to where we're recalibrating and resetting your nervous system to that higher frequency of wealth so that you can bring in and receive more wealth to really cast and create that new potentiality, that new possibility for you and like what that's going to really look like and so much more. Like seriously, this is going to be one of my favorite things that I'm like dreaming up and putting out this year. So if you're interested in that, like I said, I'm only going to take on a small group of women, like a few women to do this because it's going to be such a high level of me and investing in you and your business. So if this is something that's calling to you, definitely send me a DM over on Instagram and we can chat through. I will share more about what that's going to really look like and what it'll entail and what you could expect out of it at the end of the year. And I think that's it. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you in the next episode. All right, love. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode with me. It was such a pleasure and honor to be able to spend and hold space with you today. If you would love to dive into more, I invite you to grab a free copy of my book, Cycle Sync Your Business. You just head on over to reneefieck.com/free book, and you can grab that free copy. It'll ship directly to your door. Or you can go over to reneefieck.com/The Feminine Way to grab the first couple chapters on audiobook so you can listen on the go wherever you are, however you want. And if you're interested in learning more about how you can work with me inside your Cycle Advantage or the Awaken Retreat, I invite you to head on over to reneefieck.com and check both of those 2 programs out. With that, I will see you in the next episode. I hope you have a fabulous rest of your day.